Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? I'm Buddy.
I'm Brendan. My last name's Martin. What's yours?
I'm not sure right now, but I'm thinking similar to what yours
We
is.
met on this weird dating site. I don't really know what to do about it.
It's Thursday. That means it's Orange and
Blue
Blood Thursday.
Thursday.
So that's where we kind of mix it up and talk a little family stuff and talk about what's going on and get our insiders in here if we can drag them all in. And we want you folks out there to be a part of it too. This is where we get kind of personal and we give you our insights and we give you information that we might not put out the rest of the week, Brendan. But tonight is family night.
It's family night.
Yeah.
And it's brought to you by a special sponsor tonight.
Yeah. Titan MRI.
Titan MRI.
Yeah. Titan MRI. Worth the short drive to Gainesville. No insurance. No problem.
No problem.
Pay with cash or card with the same day scheduling available. You can start feeling better today. Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are coming all the way from other places to Gainesville.
All over from the world.
Location, of course, in Gainesville. You can go there from Ocala, Levy County, Central Scale, whatever. And the villages, no scheduling necessary ahead of time.
You just show up, get your MRI.
TitanMRI.com. Check them out. All right, Brenda, tonight on the show, if all goes well, we'll talk a little bit about what happened at practice today, a couple of dings and nicks. And as soon as you play the Open, I guess, we'll get right into that.
Well, we're going to do that. We're going to have all of our guests. Hopefully, they're going to show up this time. So
they get a little bit end of the week. They start thinking about the weekend, Yeah, so we'll see if they show up. Ben Troop's scheduled to be here. France Beard's been a little bit under the weather. Lauren Meadows will join us. And so who knows who else might show up here on.
It's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Buddy Martin, Brendan Martin with you. Brendan, the Keo spikes really pissed off some people today on the SEC network. I see Dan Bond is all over it already.
Yeah.
I watched him make the selections, and I figured he probably picked Florida 6-6. He went game by game by game. 4-8, he picked them. 4-8. Now, look, folks, I know it may not be a 10-2 season, but 4-8? Are you kidding me? I must be stupid because I don't see that happening. And I don't know where Keo Spikes has the information, but it ain't happening 4-8.
No, 4-8. I did watch some of it. I was watching it right before the show started because I was knee deep in homework with my sweet, lovely daughter doing math that I don't understand. 6th grade math, I don't get it. Sorry. That's why I'm on this show, right, buddy?
We're not good at math. Martin's not good at math.
Well, yeah. And, but nonetheless, I was watching it and I don't know. I think it's a little grandstanding, to be honest with you. I think they're just trying real hard to make it about, make some noise, be noticed. Everyone seems to be jumping on the Florida bandwagon. I watched the Feinbaum thing earlier today as well. It just, I don't know, 4-8.
I don't think Tequila's that kind of guy. I think he's a solid guy. He was a great player. He's a kind of a no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty smart, cerebral. But, I mean, look, I understand when Feinbaum does it or Peter Burns, whatever. But he was genuinely picking them to be 4-8. And I'm thinking, what am I missing here? Maybe I'm wrong. I think it'd be more like 8-4, but I'm a Gator homer, so What do I know?
Oh yeah, what do you know? Well, you only have a bajillion years of experience covering the Florida Gators, this team, and multiple other teams. I don't think we're being homers and sunshine pumpers when we say that. I think we're being a lot more realistic, be based off the information and things that we know of. So I don't know. I think I have a hard time believing it's going to be 4-8, but hey,
But
anything
we
can
talk
happen.
about this, excuse me if I interrupt, we talk about this year rounds.
Yeah.
It isn't like we just sort of just pop in one day to start making up stuff. And
No.
I'm not saying we're that smart, but the people we talk to are, and we talk to just about everybody I know, it's got any credibility on this. And they're not all homers. So, I mean, if you look at the assets, and I hate to go through this again because I've done it so many times.
Do it again, buddy. Do it again. Do it again.
Shane Matthews says, don't get hung up on Graham Mertz. He's going to be fine. He's watching him throw. He's watching him practice. He's been in meeting rooms with him. He's really confident that Mertz is the guy. We've talked to people like Urban Meyer. Again, I talked to him yesterday about what he saw in Mertz. No one knows how he'll project, but we think based on what we see and hear, he's going to be okay. Now you say, okay, what else you have to worry about? Well, people say, well, they got their defensive problems. But you know what? This Cam Jackson guy's lighting it up. I saw a video on him today. He's a big dude, and he's really talking a lot. And I think if he backs it up, that defense is going to be. And people are starting to say the defensive line looks like it might be real. The young linebackers, the Taraja Mitchell, the guy that transferred in, the secondary is better. They're not going to beat Georgia probably, but they're going to have a decent season. Then you take the offensive side of the ball, and the assets of the offensive line is good. They got a little bit of depth there. Some good young players that are stepping up that we're impressed with. And the wide receivers I'm really excited about. Billy Gonzalez, not only does he have Ricky Pearsall back from last year and Jacavian Frazier and a couple other dudes, but he's also got these three speed burners. Trey Wilson, who I think we're going to hear about tonight, from Lauren Meadows, who was supposed to have been at practice. And he's really got people excited. The whole crew of wide receivers, tight ends are healthy again now, finally. And so look, it looks on a plus minus side to be a pretty good plus sign. Now, how that plays out depends upon the opposition, how good are these teams they play. I don't know. I had a moment today where I'm thinking, you know what? If they beat Utah, I'm just dreaming here now. Could they knock off Tennessee and then go 5-0, 6-0? Probably not. But that's how I'm looking at it now. Thinking, you know what? There's possibilities here. And at this point in time, all we can think about is possibilities. Billy Napier likes his team. Even Five-Bomb today said when he got calls, I don't cite his information. He said, I sat with Scott Strickland at the SEC meeting days, and I'm convinced he thinks that Billy Napier is in a good space. And he's confident, and I had to take his word for it. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Listen, it's the best thing that could happen to the team, Brandon.
Yeah, I do too. And I think one thing about Billy Napier is that I thought about this earlier today because the question I posed earlier this a couple of weeks ago was that why was Billy looking for a second quarterback early on, talking about going back to the portal, trying to find somebody else. And then I thought, well, maybe after much consideration and picking up Graham Mertz, maybe he didn't really feel like he needed another quarterback. Maybe that wasn't something that he was concerned with. I don't think last year's record's a fair depiction of what kind of a coach he is. Obviously, he can recruit his ass off, and it's if you can recruit real well. And do some of the things he does. Who knows what he was inherited with last year? At the end of the day, only Billy does. So I think you're right. The addition of some great coaching, Billy Gonzalez, I think, is just probably one of the biggest assets they've got in the coaching staff. Other than what they've added to the defense and Austin Armstrong. So I think you've got plenty of really good. Smart people, and I don't think when you put enough smart people on the field that know the X's and O's at the level that these guys do, that you're going to go out and have that big of a disappointing of a season. I could be wrong. Of course, we all could be wrong, but I certainly don't think it's a 4-8 type of a deal.
No. Okay, a couple of comments here, if I may read them. Lanny Playhouse wants Buddy to get to the Kilo Spikes on the show. Well, we'll see about that. Rebecca has a super sticker, Brendan. 99 cents. Smiling face with sunglasses.
Yeah.
You got one of those?
No, I don't have any of those, but I got sunglasses. Check it out. I forgot they're on my head.
Smiling face.
Yeah.
We don't have those. We have those. Okay, Rebecca, give us a substitute for 99 cents. Thank you for the super sticker.
Yeah. Thanks, sis.
Let's see what else we got here. Rebecca, if they beat Utah, there's a momentum shift. You're right about that. Andy McIntosh, who I finally met at Spurrier's. Good dude. Trey Wilson is a speed demon. That's what I hear. Oh, I can't wait to see him on the hoof. Dan Bond says, plus Griffin. I saw Griff today. Spineball was trashing Florida. That's no surprise. Yeah, get this. He said, this is Mike Griffin, Mr. Georgia Bulldog, says, by the end of the season, Billy Napier will be gone. Ha!
Well, I just don't think that's going to happen regardless.
I want to wrap that in a crow sandwich instead of Griff.
I think that's a little ridiculous, and especially when you've got as many people that he's got coming on board in 2024. You're going to have to wait this out. I don't think that Scott Strickland's going to be getting rid of him, even if they go 4-8.
Yeah, and also Buck Wade agrees with me. Jaquavion Frazier is going to have a big year. The kid from Dunellen, big, tall, fast, very smart young man. If you remember, he was the one that caught probably the best player of the year that last year. Richardson made in 2-point conversion in the end zone. That guy. So J&J Trucking, our friends at J&J Trucking, let's give a shout out to those folks. Rumors have it Utah is having some major health issues. No kidding. Like their first two quarterbacks. Tight end, backup quarterback out for a week. Yeah, both of them, by the way. Cam Rising is still questionable, possible. Larry Martin says, looks like Rising and Kuti, I don't know who he is, are out for the game. I guess he's a tight end. Based on reports from Utah. Michael Burden, I think what Buddy Franz and the Gator Bait Crew says, thinks is much more important than Feynman. Thank you, Michael, for that. Dan Bond, don't cut out the powers of the swamp. Yep, that's always a big thing. And finally, let's see what else we got. You pick it up, Brendan. Larry Martin. Hope to have Rising back. And what else we got there?
It's
Andy McIntosh. Shane was talking about Utah people today.
Yeah. We got, by the way, I love you guys. I don't know. I didn't know where you were. I was trying to share the show, but I did want to say to all 30 of you people watching, are you ready, buddy?
Yeah.
Are you ready? If you're watching, 62% of you do not subscribe to this channel. If you're watching on YouTube, which I know you are because we don't broadcast anywhere else, smash the subscribe button. And I've made that a little bit easier for you because if you look down somewhere around here in the bottom right of the screen, there's a little YouTube icon. If you push on that YouTube icon, it'll say subscribe. You don't have to do anything else. You just go, it's kind of hard to see. Little tiny little thing. It's over there somewhere. And you click on it and you'll see a little subscribe thing. Click on it right there and you'll be able to subscribe to the show, get all the updates that were there. Also want to tell you a little bit about GatorBaitMedia.com. That's our home where we do all sorts of writing, and we actually stream there as well under the Buddy Martin Show tab. Go ahead and join. You can join for the monthly. Check it out. See if you like it. Come back for pick it up a lot cheaper for the yearly. But Franz Beard, Buddy Martin, and the cast of thousands, Lauren Meadows and Kyle and Quattro or Cinco, whichever we're calling him now. They all right there, and we're adding much more features to that. Check it out at GatorBaitMedia.com, or you can just click on that little QR code right there. How handy is that? Just click on that bad boy, and it will show up. It'll take you right to our landing page. Okay, that's done. Got that out of the way.
All right.
We are in Orange and Blue Blood Thursday, which is a big show. We're expecting at any moment here to hear from Franz Beard and Lauren Meadows and what's the other guy's name? Ben Troop. Yeah,
well, Ben, right. I think is tied up. So So I'm going to text our guy Kyle and see if he's available. I got a couple other notes I got to get here.
I want to talk about practice. We've got some.
Well, when Lauren gets here, I think he was at practice. We'll find out. So
I talked to him earlier today. So
all right, go ahead. I got a couple of notes when you're ready.
Go ahead. Bring up your notes.
All right, got them right here. All right. Number one, I told you about what Spike said. Cam Jackson, this big old dude, is really talking it up. I see he had a clip on him today, and he started to get some pop. First of all, he's got a good personality. He's a huge guy. He's got kind of a big belly, but he's a monster of a guy. And people are saying he can plug up some of those holes on defense, which is good news because, as I was saying the other day, talking to Shane Matthews, he says, forget about the quarterback. Don't worry about him. It's the front seven on defense that really matter. And so that's one thing. Secondly, the people over in the Big Ten are really ticked off, Brendan, because next year they get Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson during their games.
Yep.
Now, I happen to like them, but
you like Danielson? You like Gary Danielson?
I've known Gary a long time. I think he's a student of the game, and he didn't have any real bias, and although Gator fans think he does. But he's going to the Big Ten and the Big Ten next year in 2024, and Big Ten people are really not happy about it. No. So too bad, Big Ten. That's what happens. So that's Big a little 10. Note for you.
It's not even
on the recruiting front, there's a guy named somebody help me out here. It's Jet is his name. And he was a commit to USC in Miami.
Yeah,
he's a four-star. Jet White is his name.
Jet White.
And he now is making noises about coming to Florida. Be a huge pickup for as a corner. It's perfect for what Corey Raymond wants back there. And he's kind of rangy and maybe needs a little meat on his bones. He's 6'2", 165, but he can play at 180. And they say I guess he was at one time USC's number one commit. So he's the guy that can play.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing you like hearing about. And finally, bad news for the Buccaneers. They lost Cam Jackson. Excuse me. They lost their wide receiver, Russell Grace. It looks like he's out for the season. So a few other injury notes, by the way. Also, at Florida today, some things that you might want to hear about. And starting to get dinged up, Brendan. That's what you worry about, those little dings this time of year, right?
Yeah.
You start getting those things. And there's a couple of guys that, including starting center Kingsley Algonquin, is now considered day-to-day following an injury suffered during Wednesday's practice, multiple sources say. So they think it's minor, but that's not good news there. Also, Jack Miller is day-to-day now with ailing throwing shoulder. At least Florida with one redshirt freshman, Max Brown, is the only scholarship behind the starter Graham Mertz. So,
Jack Miller's a little injury prone a little bit.
Seems like he has a hard time getting in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a bad thumb, bad ankle, bad whatever. He always seems a hard time getting in. When he does, it doesn't play two-weight. So, which also makes our buddy, our guy, not our guy, but the guy that we were talking about earlier, Max Brown, would definitely be in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of talk about him in the last workout. You saw him, you were out there. A lot of people thought maybe he was maybe Miller's been hurt the whole time. We don't know. They don't tell us everything.
That's a good point. Yeah, and you got to wonder how hard they're getting after it with these guys going down like this. So,
well, that's what they made a mistake of in Utah. They started hitting late like this, and it's costing their backup quarterback now. So we'll see about that. But yeah. So, Brendan, what do you think? Were you surprised Anthony Richardson's going to start now in the NFL for the Colts? Goes right into the starting position. Some people thought he shouldn't have started for the Gators. He's going to start in the NFL.
Well, I mean, look, it's hard to say. We don't have a lot of information on that, but you got to think they're seeing something. He's certainly, like the guy's unbelievably gifted and talented, physically. Maybe they're just hoping like we're going to throw him in there and hope he, sink or swim. You know.
Well, you don't draft a guy fourth overall and see him on the bench.
No.
I remember when the Broncos drafted Elway, number one.
Yeah.
It was actually traded for him. They didn't draft him, but he was going to play right away
with the Colts.
The Colts picked him, and they traded to the Colts to get him.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Colts. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
And so I remember that there was a quarterback named Steve DeBerg, played for the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
A wily veteran. He'd been there like 10, 11 years in the league. And Elway was, the hot young guy coming in. And I remember we kept asking about, will this guy be able to play right away? And DeBerg says, well, it's just a matter of time before Elway's talent overtakes my experience. Well, there you go. Let's go get our friend Franz Beard. See what he's up to.
Hello, Franz.
What's up, Francis?
Hi, boys and girls. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing just fine. Thank you for asking. And how is Franz tonight?
On here and live able to tell about it.
Oh, good.
Well, your fans are all glad you're here. And by the way, I'm sure you heard by now, Takeo Spikes picked Florida to be 4-8 today on the SEC now. Your thoughts about that?
Oh, well, let him keep fueling, let him keep throwing the cans of gasoline on the fire, and the fire is burning. I ran into somebody today who has intimate knowledge of what's going on. And I said, what is your opinion about the quarterback situation? He said, the very least of your worries when it comes to the Florida Gators.
Mm-hmm.
I said, can he make all the throws? He said, every one of them. Mm-hmm. He said, amazing what happens when this guy gets with people who can actually run routes and catch the football.
How excited are you about these freshman receivers, Franz?
Everything I've heard about them is that if nothing more, they can force the safeties to get back off the line of scrimmage. The one concern that you have is that last year people were able to double up on Ricky Pearsall because they didn't have anybody that could really get off the line of scrimmage. Justin Shorter could, but he was he's not your real go-to type of receiver. He's a secondary receiver and a good one, but still a secondary receiver. And they did not have that guy on the other side of the field to balance it out. And if you can balance the field with speed on both sides, guys that are capable of being real go-to guys, then you create that dilemma. I mean, who are you going to double up? How are you going to double them up?
You pick your poison.
When you throw in also the fact that you're going to have to play a safety down into the box to stop that running game. Mm-hmm. No question about it. You're going to have that extra guy down in there. So having the extra,
that means one high safety, Franz. What do you do when they have one high safety?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've got Reggie Nelson. You can get away with it, but how many Reggie Nelsons are out there?
Mm-hmm.
I remember quite well. I think you do too. First play of the game against Tennessee in 2006 when they drop back and Eric Ainge thinks he's got a wide open receiver going down the right sideline there. And the Vol fans are already celebrating the touchdown while the ball's in the air. The one thing they didn't count on was the eraser.
Yeah,
Came back there, picked off the pass 35 yards down the field. And it takes, if you're going to play one high, you got to have a guy like that. You have to have a guy like that. Urban had Major Wright and Ahmad Black. And he did not play those guys on a one high. He played them two because neither one of them, as good at tacklers as they were, as good at ball hawks as they were, neither one of them had eraser type speed. They both could make plays. I mean, Major Wright, I think, who is that receiver for Oklahoma? who is still wondering, you know, if somebody got the license plate of that truck on their first or second play downfield when Major leveled him. But just the same, you know, this is a guy that was covered very tightly at the same time by a cornerback. So Major was not playing a one high. But you're going to have to commit that guy. You're going to have to play one high. Either there, you're going to have to drop something off to cover the run game, and the numbers are just not going to add up. If those freshman receivers can simply back people off with their speed, and they don't have to be great pass catchers as rookies, just good ones, and be able to stretch the field. Remember the guy that in Semi-Tough that Dan Jenkins wrote about, Al Abort Goodwin, and they said he caught one touchdown pass a year, but he was so fast that the safeties had to play 30 yards off the field in case that this was the one time that he caught the one pass of the year. And you get guys like that, and of course that opened the field up for Marvin Shake Tiller, if we remember the book correctly.
Very well. And by the way, there might be some behind me back there, but some of the Jenkins books. But one of the things that I think we want to see is what the impact is with Corey Raymond in the secondary. And I have said this before, and I say it again, that when you're confident that you're in the right position and you feel like you're in the right spot, you suddenly have better fundamentals on tackling, and all kinds of things happen. You don't have that reticence that this secondary always seemed to have, which I think is going to make a big difference. I'm excited to see what Billy's got in store, how he uses these weapons, these kids, these players. And the other day, Shane Matthews made an amazing statement, and you would know this because you saw these guys. Has there ever been three better receivers at Florida than Ike, Hilliard, Riddell Anthony, and Jacquez Green at one time? I don't think so. All three All-Americans, by the way. I mean, he says, and Shane says the exact words, that these three kids, these three freshmen, remind him of those three guys, of the same type of group. So that's pretty high praise right there.
Oh, yeah.
Marcel and you know, those guys.
And you got to remember something. Shane played with Willie Jackson, Jack Jackson.
Not too shabby either.
Which those and Harrison Houston, three guys, and Ernie Mills, all four of them who played in the NFL.
He knows what he speaks, for sure.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: Ricky Pearsall is going to have the kind of year that wide receivers dream about, simply because I don't think they're going to be able to double down on him this year like they did last year. Last year he averaged 20 yards a catch, and that was being double teamed constantly. And I just don't think they're going to be able to double him up this year, particularly because they're going to be throwing the ball to the backside of the backfield, something they did not do last year, except on rare occasions. And you're going to be if you're throwing the ball to the backside of the backfield, that again eliminates the linebacker from doubling down on a receiver and taking that short route and playing the low zone. He's going to have to be out there in the flat to take the guy out or on the wheel route. So again, you've got this good situation there. And if Arliss Boardingham is the real deal, as I'm hearing that he is,
he's back off. He got off Rivers non-contact jersey, so he's back in action.
Yeah,
now, which is good news.
He's a guy that you run those seam routes, and
big tall guy.
Yeah, tight ends who run seam routes. There was this guy named Pitts, Kyle something or other. He's pretty good running that seam route. It's funny. I saw it was on Twitter today, and I saw this. Somebody had put on there every touchdown pass that Kyle Trask threw in 2020, and watching the highlight reel catches there and connection of the KT KTK, Kyle to Kyle. You know, wow, what?
Heck, Kyle.
That's as good. You know, we talk about great connections in Florida history.
I think I know the guy who coined that phrase. Kyle to Kyle.
Yeah,
South Park.
I think that Martin guy did, Buddy something or other. You know, he's
Wilton.
done a couple. He's named a couple of people over the years.
The Iron Duke. By the way, wouldn't it have been great if the Kyle Trask and Pitts could have gone to Kyle Field and we'd had our own Kyle covering the game?
They did play at Kyle Field together.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, we didn't have Kyle. We didn't have Kyle Francis and Kyle covering it. Kyle Curtis.
Kyle was still in junior high back then.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He's a young guy. Yeah. But here's the other thing that I am hearing, and that is Florida's defensive line. And it's interesting because I was hearing that on the same day that they brought in Caleb Banks and Cam Jackson in. I had an interesting question that I asked Cam Jackson today. I said he's a large human being. I said I said you are a very large human being. He's 6'6" and he's say about 370, 375. I said, how do you feel standing next to Desmond Watson? He said, small. Maybe for the first time in his life, he is feeling small. But somebody then followed up and said, what's going to happen when you and Desmond are on the field at the same time? He said, they ain't running up the middle. I
saw that quote. That was really good. Let's bring in maybe the best tight end I can remember since the name Kyle. This guy, he's here. I think he must have been out fishing the way that hat he's got on.
Hey, man, I like the hat, man. I like the hat.
No, that ain't the hat. He knows that ain't the hat. The hat I like.
Listen, I'm gonna go get the hat you really don't like. If you don't like this one, I'm gonna go get the one you really don't like.
It does look better without that A on it. I'll say that. Yeah, that's for sure. Even until you Ben.
I mean, I'm good, man. I'm just listening to old friends talking about our dynamic duo in the middle. Obviously, I saw him being mic'd up today. Dez gonna make a lot of people feel small. If Dez Watson can't make you feel small, it's a show out there. You know, I don't want to name it, but I am looking forward to this young energy from a defense that. I mean, friends, you could probably speak to it better than me, but all signs coming out of Utah that, old Cam Rising, he might not be starting and who's going to be the guy. But I just like the fact that we got two guys that say, look, I don't know what we're going to do in the passing game as far as like rushing the passer, but if teams can run right at us, that's a problem. The only thing that we got to make sure is those guys in the middle, Dez and Big Dez included, those guys got to be able to be in there for sustained drives. Because big guys, they'll try to run a bunch of plays, keep them on the field, playing and play out. But Shamar James is back. I heard some stuff coming out about our center right now, which we'll give it a couple of weeks. But
it's minor. I don't think it's major as a fan. I heard. Maybe
but that's the thing about camp that's not talked about enough. Every camp, whether it's college, pro. You count healthy bodies coming out of camp. It's going to be all about who can we count on coming out of camp. But I like what I've been seeing. I like Graham Mertz, man, kind of speaking a little more now, coming out saying, look, I got some guys I built a healthy rapport with. I don't like somebody put up the wrong graphic. I mean, last time I checked, Xavier Henderson is no longer with Florida. I know that was a misprint, but I just like the camaraderie that's being built. I like the fact that you got a bunch of guys who understand when you at Florida, don't read the news clippers. It goes all the way back to 2002 and 3 when I was there with Ron Zook. He'll say, listen, the only way you're going to get caught up in the news is if you read it, is if you listening to it. That's the only – because if you only listen to what we're saying and what we're doing, you should keep your eye on the prize. And I know it's way more media coverage now than it was back when I played, but 5.5 wins and all these different things. But I think the guy – I just like what I've been hearing from the guys. I know we got a big time Netflix special coming out. I mean, it could have came out in the summer. I don't know why it got to come out a week before we play, but maybe people are talking about that. focus less. But
summer ratings are awful. So they're waiting for little sweeps. That must mean it's a pretty good show, because if anything comes out in the summer, and they're thinking, it might not be so good. Hey, speaking,
no, Brent, it's going to be a good. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. But
Urban says it's going to be good. Buddy, talk to him, and Urban says very positive about it. So he seemed very, very close to it.
No. I was. It's funny too. Even with the whole Urban Meyer, I know I saw what you wrote, buddy. I got to say this about Urban Meyer. No matter how you feel about him, love him, like him, dislike him, hate him, Urban has built up a reputation that if they ain't talking about you, you ain't did much. His resume is cemented. Everybody, I was blessed enough to sit down with Louis Murphy, and the kind of things Louis Murphy told me about Urban Meyer, it just blew my mind. His methodology, everybody ain't gonna like it, but if you sat down and saw Nick Saban's methodology, Kirby Smart's methodology, any coach has had success, you probably gonna be like, that dude is borderline crazy. Look at the results. And I got to say this: that little school, but that school over there on the Panhandle, they got a new restaurant coming out. Not very original, by the way. Not very
not
original.
Called Spurs, though. These ain't called Spurs.
I'm just saying. It's almost like, hey man, that sounds like something I've heard. I'm not mad at what they're doing. I'm just saying, man, a little more thought could have went into it, but at the end of the day, them boys over there in the Panhandle, they're always looking at us right here, in North Florida. So we'll take it as a compliment.
It's hot out
there. Could have got one and named it the Little Dweeb after Terry the Tiger.
Yeah, but Franz, I know you were at the press conference, and Ben, I think Lauren was out there today, and I believe we got Lauren in the house. There he is, Coach Meadows, and we're comparing notes, injury information, scouting reports on guys like Trey Wilson. Lauren, what you got, man? Good evening to you.
How you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a rough with this connection, but no, it looks like things are rounding into form. I really took the time to look at all three freshman wideouts today in practice, and really take a hard look at Eugene Wilson, the third, and he really has he carries himself like an experienced player, somebody that has a lot of swag, a lot of confidence, and really moves naturally out there. Just really seemed to be on cue, kind of step to the line for his reps and routes on air, and even in some of the drills, just kind of really carries himself like an experienced player. So I would say a lot has been made about Andy Jean and Aiden Mizell, but looking at it, from the outside looking in, I could see Eugene Wilson III making a big impact right away.
You played the position wide receiver. You know what the drill is. You can evaluate skills pretty good. We keep hearing all these great things about Trey, as they call him. Someone says his name is not Trey. Yes, it's Trey. He's Eugene Wilson III. That's the Trey. And there's been more talk about him probably than anybody on offense, if you don't count the quarterbacks. So, Franz, you were at practice today. Ben, you heard a little bit. Give us drill down on it, Lauren, and tell me what you saw and what you liked and what impressed you the most about Trey Wilson.
Like I said, same thing, just the bounce. He carries it. I would say, a lot have been made about, I think it's been really Percy Harvin or Jaquez Green. I would definitely say he's more Jaquez Green than he is Percy Harvin. So that was one observation.
How so, Lauren?
People, people forget. Percy Harvin was built like a tank. I think he was 205 by the time he left Florida. Whereas he's kind of got the stature of a Jaquez Green, kind of runs his routes very similar, kind of a crash and burn guy, where Percy could just get it anywhere and make you miss. I still think that Eugene Wilson or Trey Wilson is going to be, like I said, similar to like a Jaquez Green, where it still run good routes, things like that, be able to help you in the return game, but not necessarily those give it to him plays like Percy Harvin will. I think he'll make a lot of plays within the offense, but he does have the ability, once he catches the ball, he puts that foot in the ground and he's off. So I mean, like I was saying, that's kind of the,
Okay.
it's more like where Percy Harvin with strength and speed, it's going to be more like kind of like a savvy and a little bit explosiveness that, like I said, we saw with a Jaquez Green, and even my guy Travis McGriff at times, just a little bit of that in and out, and but still able to make an impact.
What Franz will tell you and is that Percy had about 3 speeds. Literally, he could shift up and shift down. I mean, acceleration was just boom. He was gone.
Right.
And sometimes even the coaches were shaking their heads. But Franz, I know you've known a little bit. I know what you heard about him, Ben. What I've heard, and I haven't seen him, I'm dying to see him, is that he's pretty strong. He's very disciplined in his routes. He has good hands. He's a smart, mature ball player for a freshman. Plus, he's got speed. And a combination of speed and power and knowledge, that could make for quite a receiver there, Francis.
He's a guy that you can put him in the slot because you can bring him in the slot. He can run that quickie jet sweep, not the one where you have the wide receiver coming all the way across the field, but that guy that comes, he's sort of in the almost as a wing back, and he turns and the quarterback just kind of reaches behind him with the ball, and boom, he's off. And you can do that with him. You can run the make you miss type stuff with him. And at the same time, if you put him in the slot, because you got a guy like Caleb Douglas, and nobody's talking about Caleb.
I think he's a heck of a player. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm going to tell you something. Do not sit on Caleb Douglas this year. He is going to have an outstanding year. People don't take into consideration he was a high school quarterback. Last year, he was learning on the fly to be a wide receiver and how to catch the football. He'd always been the guy throwing it, always been the guy running the ball. Now, last year, he's catching it. Now he's comfortable catching it. And Billy Gonzalez has really, really instilled in him route discipline. He's a guy that when the route says we take 7 steps, you take 7. You don't take 6.5. You don't take 7.5. And Lauren, you're a former wide receiver, and you can tell, you know the difference. You run an imprecise route. A dink and dunk pass is dink and dunk. You run a precise route, that dink and dunk pass can suddenly be a 25-yard gain because you split the seam. And Billy really emphasizes that route discipline. That's one of the things I think is going to be grossly underrated about this team is the fact that you've got receivers who are going to be able to get off the line of scrimmage. You watch Billy working with them, pounding that in on them every single day in practice, getting off the line of scrimmage. And then
creating a separation. That's the thing.
Exactly. Because last year, Xavier Henderson, great kid. Really and truly a great kid. And I wish him so well at Cincinnati. But he couldn't separate. He was not feared. He was not feared at all by opposing secondaries. They didn't think he could separate. And he's a guy with great straight ahead speed, but he didn't have that ability to do this, and all of a sudden, boom, plant his foot. And suddenly there's 3-4 yards difference. He didn't have that. And these guys can do that. And Caleb Douglas is a guy that can do that. He's going to have a big year. And I'll throw one other name at you. Don't sit on this guy. And that is Jamarcus Weston.
I'm looking at him right now.
He is
6'3", 215.
He's a big, strong guy that's always had the great straight ahead speed. And now they're throwing in some things that give him some wrinkles, some ability to move and stuff like that. He's the nephew of Gator great Rondi Weston. And, I'll tell you, the great story about Rondi Weston and Tommy Duhart, by the way, that we got to get into someday, about how Rondi Weston gave up one of his kidneys so Tommy Duhart could be alive. That's what you call brotherhood. And that came about during the Spurrier years, that brotherhood between those two guys.
Let's get into the story about a guy who caught the ball pretty well himself and Ben Troop. The tight end position now, they're getting some guys back, Ben. What does that do when you got guys around you that can get open, catch the ball, and have breakaway speed, like we just talked about? The tight end position becomes another kind of weapon. How do you see those guys? We mentioned Boardingham. There's a bunch of other guys I could bring up. I can remember all their names, but they've got some. Odom, I guess, is back now, right? Did he have a non-contact jersey off of him today?
Yeah.
So they're full complement now at their tight end position. What does that spell for the offense to have those tight ends, Ben?
Hopefully, helping contributing the passing game and making it more dangerous. The thing about a tight end is, I mean, he's supposed to be the utility guy. He's supposed to be the guy that goes out there and picks up third downs. Found a guy in Arlis Boardingham. I mean, I've seen him a lot during his offseason working out. The tight end position has to be more of a collective type thing than just an individual. Because what happens is, you can't compare people to a guy like Kyle Pitts. You can't compare. You just can't. That's not the barometer. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is Kyle Pitts is a unicorn, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants one. I get it. Everybody does. But the thing about the tight end position is they got to be able to show that they can be consistent week in and week out. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I had to learn as a player is everybody can have a moment. Everybody can. But can you be consistent? Yeah. Consistent means, man, I'm on the field whether I'm catching the ball or not, because we're going to run the football. Like going into this season, if you don't think our best, chance on offense is running the football, you are sadly mistaken. Mm-hmm. But what it does is, the more you run the football, those safeties got to come closer to the line of scrimmage. They got to get closer. And when they do, you can't double everybody. The best route runner on the field is Pearsall. He will route you up. But the thing about the tight end position, the hardest thing to do as a player is to create opportunity for yourself, and that comes with consistency. And that's how you demand respect. Because them defensive coordinators, they say, "Oh man, we're not worried about Florida's tight ends right now." Yeah. Until you give them a reason to. And even though, listen, Pearsall is the guy, right? Pearsall is the guy. That's why he came back. He's the man. You understand that.
He's the man.
When you don't have a solid number two. So I just think that for the tight end position, for me, I just want to be consistent.
Ben, I wanted to ask you, as a tight end, and just speaking to the importance of a tight end in offense in general, especially with something that Billy's trying to do, but getting the separation from your defensive end on the edge, and selling either it's a run or it's a pass, but getting open. I mean, we talk about running precise routes. I mean, wouldn't you say at times as a tight end, it's hard to just get past the line of scrimmage to get open? And if you can be effective like that, what a difference it makes opening up the position a la Aaron Hernandez and guys like that. You talk about being a utility position, but it is a real, if you got, it's like that extra weapon that you got that if you got all that cranking, don't you think that makes such a huge difference, especially in a year like this?
Absolutely. When I say a utility player, I mean they do it all. Like you have to be able to do it all, because what it does is the hardest thing for defense to game plan for is two tight ends on the field at the same time. Mm-hmm. But neither one of them got the best two tight ends I've ever seen, like in football together, was Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. When they was out there together, okay, so what do you do? Now I'm not saying you got to be that. I think the thing about a tight end is if you've seen a dominant tight end before, that's what you expect to see. No, it's not gonna happen. But you find these guys can go out there and find a way. They're gonna get one-on-one. When I played, it's what the coaches say to you. They'll say, "Man, that must be Troy Polamalu covering you. That must be Ed Reed. That must be Steve Atwater." Why? Because they're covering you one-on-one, and you know where you're going. Confidence is only built when you do the mundane consistently. When I do the things that no one sees consistently, then I got a shot to be great. I think the thing about football is you want to do the great when the great calls for it. I want to do the regular better than great. I want to just go out there and just be a tight end first. And when it's third and sixth and everybody knows that we're going to throw the football, hey man, let's see if you can run around. Because at the end of the day, as a tight end, I don't got to run by you. But it is my job to make you do what I want you to do. And the time it takes you to realize when I'm doing the ball's in my hand, as Coach D would say, we coach you to know the play, execute the play, run the play. When the ball gets in your hand, show us what you can do. Show us what you can do with the ball, because that's all talent.
And catch the ball.
But but at the same time, Brendan,
they leap over the guy like you used to do.
No. Well, most of the guys we talk about, right? The best players are late bloomers. The guys who they've been in college 3 years already. They didn't transfer. They just stood the course. They did. And when it comes time for them to produce, what they've learned in 3 years is I'm a great teammate. I want to go out there and perform individually, but I'm so concerned with the team that whatever I do individually is icing on the cake. Now, if I'm all individual based on a team, that you'll be able to see that type of stuff. So I think that Odom coming back is huge, because we talk about legacy. His dad is one of the best players ever come through Florida, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he still went to Florida. Emmitt Smith's son, nothing against Emmitt Smith's son. When people say, why would he go to Florida? I don't want to come behind that. Could you imagine Emmitt Smith's son coming to Florida and every time he touches the ball, oh, you remind me of your daddy? No, you don't. He just looks like him. So I think with some of these players at the tight end position, the one thing players don't like is comparisons. They don't want to hear about Kyle Pitts. They don't want to hear about me or Aaron Hernandez or or Kurt Wells or whomever, because we had to develop into those players. And I think what happens is, when I got Matt Starks blocking on one, I got Shannon Snell blocking and Mike DeGore and Chris Leak is sitting back there in the pocket. I'm like, dude, I can get open. Like, getting open is not hard. Getting open consistently is. See, it's when everybody knows, hey man, they're gonna throw the ball to him. Can you get open when everybody knows?
On 3rd and 10, you don't want to be Ricky Pearsall.
I mean, because at the end of the day, when these guys go out there, right, they already got the pressure of wearing the orange and blue. They already got the pressure of being a starter. They already got the pressure, the hopes and dreams of Gator Nation, both current, future, and former watching. But if you drop it on 3rd and 6, listen, coach say, I'd rather you drop it on 3rd and 6 because you got your depth than to catch it at 5 and get tackled. Please don't run a 5-yard route and get tackled.
Get the first down.
Lauren, that's the part. That's Lauren. That's the part I know. Being up in the stand, say, bro, it's 3rd and 5. So catch it at 5 and fall forward. Don't catch it at 4, and they don't let you get another hit. That's what I just want the tight end position to be consistent for 4 quarters.
Okay.
I don't care about the stat line. I care about the fact that when they start saying, because the best tight end in the country, unfortunately, is in the SEC.
Well, he's one of the best ever. One of the best ever.
He is. But the thing about it is, too, he's built for what he is. He's not a big guy.
He can get over. He can catch. That's for sure.
He can. So I want the tight end position to get back to just being a focal point, not just coach say be a focal point, not just a slot filler. We got to play with 11. So don't be out there because we got to play with 11. Be out there because you one of the best 11, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, it ain't like we got Georgia's schedule. We got to play football, opening games. So, I hope that happens. And like I said, I thank God every day for the career I had. But if they would have threw me out there as a freshman or sophomore, I was athletic enough. I wasn't ready, and I can admit that now because it's like, dude. Sometimes it takes 4 years. People are like, hey, man, where you been? Figuring out how to do this.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at that schedule right now. We're going to go over it. Oops, did we lose Ben? There we go. Let's take a look at that schedule, Ben, in just a second. I wanted to say, first of all, Tyree Cleveland, according to Dan Bond, was just carted off the field in Philadelphia in Cleveland. So we wish him, our prayers are with him. We got to do a spot. I want to come back. I got the schedule. And we're going to kind of vote on each game. We'll see what consensus we have, what we all say on each game. And meanwhile, Brendan, let's get that spot up for Meldon Law and play some of that. And our good friends at Meldon Law. We come back and we're going to start around the horn. We'll start with Lauren and say, well, actually, what we'll do is we'll call the game out, and each person can say win or loss. So we'll see what we got for consensus. Okay, so a lot of people see you on there. They think, who is Jeffrey Meldon and what does he do exactly? So let me explain if I needed to. Let me have you explain and answer those questions.
Meldon Law helps folks that are seriously injured in accidents. And one of the advantages is that we're local. The big box lawyers, the big box stores you see on TV, you're never going to see them. When you come to Meldon Law, you're going to see a Meldon, either myself or my son, Kerry. And we're in the community. We give back to the community. We help lots of people put their lives back together. But one of the main themes that I want to share is whether it's Meldon Law or any other local firm, I think we should support our local businesses. Why go out of town? And, most of these firms are running the case out of a different city. They don't, really have the same connection.
In the trunk of a car someplace.
Car, truck, we have golf cart crashes. We have all kinds of crashes. But the main thing is I support all of our local businesses in Marion County, Alachua County, Columbia County. So that's my message to everybody. If anybody's in a serious accident, give us a call. It's free. We'll get you in the right direction. And, we hope that you're not, but somebody will probably be involved in a crash, and we're here to help. And we have a great office, fully staffed in Ocala, Gainesville, and Lake City.
All right, thanks, Meldon Law. They won't back down. All right, guys, you ready? Here we go. Tee it up. We'll go start with Lauren, go right to Brendan, and Fran, and me. We're all going to vote on each game. Win, loss, win, loss. Okay.
How long do we have? Like do we have a clock for each person, or
no? You have to you got 3 seconds for each person to answer the question and a loss.
All right.
We go right away. Rapid fire. Start off. Here we go. Utah.
Loss.
Laura, I'm sorry.
Loss.
Brendan.
Win.
Ben. I lost his mic. I think he said win.
Yeah.
All right. And then France. France win or loss.
France Beard.
We lost France too now.
I think France is typing.
Yeah. Hello, France.
France, you there?
Okay.
Tune in, France. All right.
All right. We'll have to come back. All right. So then I'm going to say win. So that means that's one. That's a W. Okay. Consensus. Okay. Next up is McNeese State. We can all say, I think, win there, right? So that's majority on votes. All right. So that's 2 W's. Tennessee. This is the tougher one. Lauren.
Win.
Brendan.
Win.
Ben. We can't hear him.
We can't hear Ben now either. What's going on? Ben, you got your mic off? Did you turn your mic off?
Yeah, there it is. I got to win. I got to win.
You got to win?
Yes.
Doesn't matter what I say now. So let's go. Franz, real quick. Tennessee, win or loss?
Win.
Okay, go back to all right. So we got Tennessee. That's what, Brendan, 3-0, right?
Yeah,
all
I
right.
got 3-0.
Charlotte, I think we got all W's there, right? Anybody? Okay, so that's 4-0, guys. Now, wait a minute. 4-0 here. Be careful.
I'm 3-1. I'm 3-1.
No, but you guys are a consensus. This is a consensus pick. So the consensus says 4-0 here.
4-0.
All right. Kentucky at Kentucky. Lauren.
Win.
Brendan.
Loss.
Ben.
Win.
Friends.
It's the Wildcats. Florida wins.
Doesn't matter what I say. It's a W. So I would have said loss. Okay. So this team might be undefeated, guys, the way we're going right now. Okay. The Vandy. All right. No, you can't assume Vandy, but all right. Lauren, let me hear you say it. Vandy.
Win.
Brendan.
Win.
I mean, I think there's some red ass in that one. Win.
All right. And Franz.
It's Vandy.
So we've got them 5-0, folks. Just remember, we have now declared them to be 5-0. All right. This team that the Tequila Spikes they picked to be 4-8 now we got them 5-0. Okay. Everybody else is participating too. Everybody's jumping in there with W's. All right, so now at South Carolina, Lauren.
Win.
Brendan.
Loss.
Lauren. Ben.
Yeah, probably a loss this year. Loss.
Friends
on the road.
Win.
That's 2-2. I break the tie. I'm gonna say loss.
Yeah.
That means they got their first loss here, right? That's
Tough place to play.
I
They
can't
have
give
no
them be 12-0.
line.
They can't be 12-0, guys. Okay.
Don't
All
have
right,
an offensive line or a defensive line.
Georgia. Anybody want to pick Florida over Georgia?
No.
No.
Not
All
lost.
right, so that's two losses there.
Got one to look competitive, but I don't see him
Okay,
winning.
all right. So that's an L. All right, so now they're four. They're what? What is it? 5-2, 4-2.
5-2.
Arkansas. Lauren.
Loss.
Brendan.
Oh, that's a win.
Ben.
Man, that's gonna be tough. KJ Jefferson at home.
Blackout game.
Blackout.
Blackout game.
That might be a loss.
All right, that's all right. Brand.
Yeah, I know we got the blackouts, but loss.
Yeah. All right, Brendan. France.
Florida's not going to lose to Arkansas here. Maybe there, but not here.
With France, that makes it 3-2. That means another W. What's our score now? All right. At LSU, Lauren.
Loss.
Brendan.
Close, but loss.
Loss.
Ben.
Yeah, loss. We can't.
All right,
we
doesn't
can't.
matter what I
this
say.
won't be the
Doesn't
year we
matter
go.
what I say.
Yeah.
France, you go ahead and you say whatever.
That's going to be it. I'll say this: if Florida's going to win the game, it's going to be because LSU loses twice in September.
Okay, you can't give an explanation. Just going to say win or loss.
I don't think LSU loses twice in September.
See, all right. So that's another loss. How many is that, Brendan? 3?
3.
Okay. This is what's funny. People are picking Missouri to beat Florida. All right. So at Missouri, Lauren.
Dub.
Brendan.
Dub.
Ben.
Big dub.
Yeah, big dub.
Doesn't matter.
Not going to lose in Columbia.
Said Missouri. Also, someone said Florida.
It's going to be a 2-0 record in Columbia this year.
All right. So they've got what? 2 losses here so far. Did I say? Is that what I said? Is that right?
3. 2
3?
3.
3, I think. 2
you
or
had
3.
3, I thought.
Well, who do we have losing to?
South Carolina, LSU,
Georgia. All right, we got 3 losses. All right, Georgia and LSU. All right. And then finally, this is the big one. The FSU Seminoles, Lauren.
If they are 8-3 going into that game, they beat Florida
I just
State.
need a W or an L.
W, based on what we got.
Brendan?
W.
Dub.
Ben?
I think too much hype from Florida State. I'll go with the dub.
Friends.
I don't like the Seminoles.
W or L?
W, because I don't like the Seminoles.
Okay, so doesn't matter what I said after that. Okay, that means these Gators are going to be 9, according to us and our consensus, they're going to be 9-3, guys. You said it, you own it. All right.
I said 8-4, but
we collectively own it.
Collectively, it's like
the person I talked to.
It's 8-4 and 9-3 is a solid year. I mean,
I think that's a whole. You go 8-4, 9-3 this year. You I mean, look, you're riding home thinking that you did something.
Now, there's 2 things I want to ask the group about. I want to ask the group around the horn. Quick comment. Number one. If they get to 5-1, what's possible in the back half of the schedule? Because sometimes we know teams, they start believing in themselves all of a sudden, all right? And Ben, you're shaking your head. They get to 5-1. Some of these games look like they might not win. Suddenly could be winnable. That could change everything in the back half of the season. Right around, guys.
I think, of course.
Momentum is huge. I mean, go ahead. No, momentum is huge, and confidence is. A lot of teams, I mean, Florida, let's face it. KJ Jefferson, Daniels, Spencer Rattler, you're going to go up against some really, really good quarterbacks, right? But 5-1 after the first 6 weeks of the season means the whole college football is thinking, what the hell is what's going on?
Don't wake them up.
Yeah, so I think for Florida, listen, man. I mean, you want to get as much momentum as quick as you possibly can, and it's gonna that back half of the season is just as tough as the first half. So, yeah, they're gonna need a lot of momentum going into that second half. So 5-1 gives them a lot of confidence. 5-1 and they're healthy.
That's the thing.
They're healthy, they got a shot.
I'm worried about injury because everyone seems to be getting injured in fall practice. So, I think it's going to be a big thing because there's not a lot of number twos to like next man up in some of these positions. So that a key loss could be bad.
Yeah, I wanted to say that Mr. Blakely reminds us of Marcus.
Flavian Frazier's.
Whatever. That's not the point. Here's what I want to say. We'll wrap up with this.
Whatever.
I think, Ben, this is what's important, what we just said here. Dan Bond nailed it. This is really it. 8 or 9 wins. If they get them 8 or 9 wins going into 2024 with a 12-team playoff and a number 3 class, Gator football will be back, gentlemen, in 2024. I think this is what
that schedule scares me, though.
You know what? It doesn't matter. You play like Deion said. I don't care who we play. We expect to win.
It's the SEC.
We're quoting Deion now?
Absolutely, we quote Deion.
Good Lord.
Deion
got to remember he is older.
Deion had a great comment today about his team players not fighting. If you guys hadn't been followed on Twitter, 2 guys, they had a scrum of pushing, and 2 guys walked off, and the other guys had a little scrap. He chewed them out and says, "One fight, we all fight. We don't ever walk away." Ben, what do you think of that comment?
I like that. I mean, that to me, I thought that was just common sense. When you're out there on the field, the only time you get to fight to where you can't hurt your team as long as you don't break your hand is in practice. I mean, that's for. I mean, Lauren to tell you that. I mean, the heat of the summer. Everybody's on edge. My roommate is probably going to be a defensive end. I'm going to tell him walking out the house, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of plays today, and I'm going in your mouth. I'm just telling you. That's football, though. Yeah. But when a coach got to tell, let me tell you something. It's club rules are built on a football field, meaning club rules are simply this. I might not even start the fight, but I got to swing with who I came with. We can sort it out in the car. Yeah. But if I got knocked out because the guy that hit me, you watching him, you walking home. You better hope we local. You're not getting in my car tonight. I'm just that just. I mean, football is one of them things to where it's like a family member. If Brendan, you and Buddy in the store, somebody says something to Buddy like,
I'm kicking their ass right now.
Right?
That's
you
right.
got to. Brendan can't say, "Dad, what you doing?"
Smash.
Listen, y'all, you go in his mouth. Deal with it later.
Smash
as one offensive line coach once told me, he said, "Don't ever be the guy that starts the fight, but don't ever be afraid to be the one that ends it."
You know what my dad told me?
Amen.
You know what Buddy Martin told me? If you're going to get in a fight and you know you're going to get in a fight, you better hit him first. That's all I was saying. You better hit first.
Yeah, I'm getting mine off
first.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm gonna get mine off first. And as long as the person who whooped me ain't in the building, I whooped him. I beat the brakes off of him. Did he walk in? Oh, as long as he ain't. Hey man, like Jeff Chandler say, the older we get, the better we were. You know how good I was when I played? Because ain't nobody there to validate it. And when it comes to fighting, my daddy gonna say, "Hey son, what happened?" I said, "Daddy, you see my face? You better go look at him." I'm just telling you.
All I got to say is I must be damn good then, man, if that's the case. Because I'm old.
But at the end of the day, if the one thing the Martins got, they got bail money. So what's up? We got bail money. So let's do this.
I got bail money and a YouTube show. I'm gonna kick some ass.
If I ain't got it, I'm gonna
for myself. I'm gonna YouTube myself kicking someone's ass and make money on it. So
they're gonna be saying, buddy. Come on, man. What are we saying?
Come on.
But you're right about one thing. If you never played sports and I played at a lower level than you did, but the bond in that, people talk about the locker room, you don't understand that feeling. Your teammate, you have to be willing to do anything that's necessary for your teammate. And I love Billy's comments earlier in the week talking about that, about how important it was that, you stand together. You if you're not given everything you got, you're cheating your teammate. And you're going to be there for him at any cost, anytime. I love that. all in, right?
I love all that, but I'll tell you what, and this was to go back to the original part of this comment. If we start, I think Deion needs to just recognize, like, he made a pretty obvious statement to anyone who played team sport, especially in a contact sport like football, hockey, these kind of things. Deion, it's got to remember, I lived in Colorado a long time. He's still in Boulder, okay, and there's still a long way to go where he's going to, make a difference, just because he's come from, nowheres, and recruited a bunch of guys, and he's got some fast things to say, and he's glitz and glam. It's not easy to win in Boulder. So we'll see how much we're quoting Deion.
I don't agree with you on that, because I can tell you. Well, just let me say my point of view. That is, if you talk to players, who respect him because he was the greatest quarterback of all time.
Sure.
He played the game at the highest level possible. Okay. You don't have to like him. But he is a great player. He commands respect. And the reason he gets the players he gets is because of who he is. Now, you don't have to like the character. You don't have to like him. Am I lying, Ben, or not? I mean, the respect he gets.
No. I mean, when Deion Sanders walks in the room, I mean, everybody watches. I mean, he's the, outside of maybe Nick Saban, man, he's the most polarizing coach because he has his persona. But the whole thing about it is this, man, this charisma oozes out of him. Confidence oozes out of him. But when the rubber meets the road, and them L's start piling up.
Yeah, he's gonna hit the road.
Because at the end of the day, Deion Sanders understands this, man. I'm Deion Sanders. Like, I'm one of the most recognizable people on the planet. But and my son is a hell of a quarterback. He really, really is. But the difference is, when you start losing, what are you gonna say then? Now, and it's not a matter of if. It's when you start losing, what happens. And I think the thing about Deion is, no matter what, I think it's great that he said 95% of the players that I coach ain't going pro. I'm here to make sure they good men. Yeah, well, they pay you to win games. Every coach in college, they pay you to win games. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm rooting for him. Anybody makes a lateral move, I got a chance to go. But it's not like Colorado don't hire black head coaches.
No.
Let me tell you something that I like about what Deion's doing. He reminds me of Charlie Pell. Charlie Pell came here and knew he was going to have a bad first year. Knew it, because there were just too many holes in that roster. And he went 0-2-1. But I'll tell you what, he did the same. There was that same certainty about him knowing what he was going to do and accomplish. And I see that in Deion. You see the peacock and the strutting around, and I'm the greatest that ever was. I was at Ali Frazier, and before 2 days before the fight, Muhammad Ali says, "I ain't gonna lose. I'm pretty. That man's ugly. We cannot have an ugly heavyweight champion of the world." And Deion is like that. He is this guy that he's bigger than life. Charlie Pell came here, 5'9", played all on SEC offensive lineman at 158 pounds, tough as nails, and he had that same thing, and they lost, and he knew they were going to lose, but he never let his team or the people he was recruiting or the fan base forget that he was Charlie Pell and he was going to lift this team up. Deion's going to do that at Colorado.
I don't know. I think it's the end of the show when we start comparing Charlie Pell to Deion Sanders.
Well, anyway, I get what you're talking about. I get what you're talking about. I respect your opinion.
4 wins for the Buffs.
Here's what I want to say about that. Let me close the book on the comment. So I want to say one thing. I don't know if the man can coach at this level or not. I know he knows the game. I don't know. I've seen guys who are great players who know the game who couldn't coach. I don't know that. But I have massive respect for what he's done. First of all, for the HBCU schools. And secondly, the fact he's chosen to coach. He's got plenty of money, and that he's committed to himself to this craft. And that when he speaks, I listen to what he says. Now, how does that translate to coaching? I don't know. He may be 0-12. I don't know. But let's see what happens. And I don't necessarily I'm not rooting for him anyway, but I do respect him. And that's where I start with him. I respect him.
All right. Well,
final thoughts.
Final thought.
He's gonna get there. He's Deion. I always say this about Deion, right? If Deion Sanders wasn't Deion Sanders, would he do the same things he's doing? Like if he wasn't Deion, because Deion knows, hey man, Deion knows this. I help with the bottom line. When it comes to making money, he gonna eyeballs check, recruiting check, perception check. Am I selling out? Check. So what they want to do in Boulder, he's doing that. But the best quarterback in college football is in your division. He's in your league, right? There go Caleb over there. There go Bo Nix at Oregon. You know, you got Michael Penix, he up there. You know, you got some good teams, right? The thing about Deion is this. He is charismatic, and he can control a room like I've never seen a coach do before. But who are you when you start losing? Because the one thing we've never seen yet is lose. We ain't seen that. If you want to know, when Deion Sanders lost 2 years in a row in the Celebration Bowl, when he's already said I'm going to Colorado, look at the celebration after the game. He's mad. He's ready for it to be over with. And I'm telling you, I'm rooting for Deion too, man. I think what he brings to the table is different. But if I'm going to the school of coaching, I can't learn from Deion because I got to have everything he has and coach. Deion knows how many coaches you see get prime on their shirt. Deion, he's the only coach can do that. Whether that's Jackson State or Colorado, I'm not mad at him. I just know that Deion don't like criticism, bro.
Well,
he don't like it I'm talking about 0%.
I think
nothing negative, but if he don't like criticism, he in the wrong business because it's coming and people cannot wait. I know he going to the Big 12 or wherever he going, whatever they gonna do. But I'm just looking forward to see because Deion Sanders, say what you want, that boy can play. That young man can play, and I want to see what he does. He gonna have a good season individually, collectively. I mean, I don't know what they think they showing with these scrimmages. I'm like, they are not impressive. When you watching these scrimmages, I don't know what they think we seeing. That team won one game last year.
Yeah.
And oh my God. I get they get Terrell Owens and all these celebrities, Lil Wayne walking through there. They got TCU first game. They got TCU first game of the year. Them Horned Frogs say you lost to Georgia.
56-0.
Y'all ain't Georgia.
Like I said, I don't know if he can coach, but I do respect him. France,
he can coach. I respect him. I'm like you, buddy. We had no reason to watch Colorado until he got
right.
there.
And
so
look what he's done. That program was broken completely.
Still is.
And France, you go, then Lauren, then Brenda, if you want to add yours. So, France, go ahead.
I'll save mine.
Well, I here's the thing is some guys have it factor. And I've been around this game a long, long time. And I haven't seen that many, whether we're talking coaches or players, that just had that it factor about them. That, you look at Deion. Deion goes up there and they say you can't be a part-time baseball player. So he's a center fielder on a World Series team. People who saw him play basketball say he was a better basketball player than he ever was a baseball player or a football player. I ran track. He can explode. He can do it. And not everybody has that ability to just step into whatever role and suck all the oxygen out of the room. And here's the one thing. We could say that he doesn't like the criticism, but he takes the pressure off his team because all the slings and all the arrows are going to be pointed at him. And if they lose, it'll be Deion's loss. It won't be the team's loss. And he's going to take that pressure off, and he's going to build a team because of that. I think he's going to do well. And I can tell you what else. I think the Florida Gators are going to do very well this year too, because this guy we got as the football coach, I really believe he's pretty darn good.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff.
I'm going to do this round the horn thing. I'm going to kiss everybody off as they
let
go.
Lauren go real fast.
I'm going to say Ben, good night. We're gonna say goodbye. Franz, thank you, sir. Good night. Franz, all right. Say I'm around the horn now. Lauren, you're up.
Well, I will say that I think that the biggest thing that's lost on Deion Sanders, and I'll leave it with this. I agree with you, Brendan. They've got some grass to mow, to use Billy Napier's comment. But I think the biggest thing that people need to keep in mind with Deion Sanders, long after he's probably done coaching, is not only did he revolutionize the position of cornerback in the NFL, but his biggest thing is he revolutionized the salaries for cornerbacks in the NFL. And I think that that's one of the things that's lost on, he put his money where his mouth was, and he went out there and showed it. And there's a lot of people that now have generational wealth from playing the cornerback position because of Deion Sanders. Right. And I think that's lost on his legacy.
Good stuff, Lauren. Good job tonight, everybody.
Good
Appreciate
job.
it, buddy.
Good night, Lauren.
Have a good night. Good night.
Yeah.
We just tell you real fast about Renstar Medical Research, our fine sponsors. Our proven reputation is high-quality, patient-centered clinical research facility. Renstar Medical Research brings cutting-edge clinical research trials to Ocala in areas like Alzheimer's, dementia, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, and fibromyalgia, along with many other conditions that affect us here. Since their inception in 1998, Renstar has done more than 700 clinical research trials. You can be a part of this if you'd like to be involved in it. Go to renstar.net and find out how you can join up. In some cases, time and travel will be compensated. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
We're getting better at that. Good night, buddy. Thank you very much. And I love you.
Love you.
That's it for the show, guys, gals. Thanks for watching. Check us out. We got a lot of things going on. Smash the subscribe button. It should be in the bottom right-hand corner, right? What's over there? I'm switching. Right there should be a little subscribe button. It says right there, says YouTube subscribe. Click on that. You can subscribe to the show. We should have a show this weekend. Check us out on GatorbaitMedia.com. You can click on this little QR code, handy dandy little deal, or you see it in the chat. Check that out, and you will be good to go. Subscriptions are affordable. So we got a monthly, a yearly, all that good stuff. Good writing, good everything else. Get it before the season. And I want to thank our guests tonight for the Orange and Blue Blood show. We thank Ben Troop. We want to thank Franz Beard, Lauren Meadows, obviously Buddy Martin, and myself, the Crown Prince, by the way. And if you want to know where we came from, we have a nice throwback Thursday video I just posted about the airport. And those of you who know what the airport is, you know what I'm talking about. It's where it started in 2017, where this whole ridiculous thing that we started long ago happened, really that sort of night. Check it out. It's on our videos on YouTube. It's kind of the stuff we'll be seeing more of. We'll be posting some of these interviews individually. We've got Urban Meyer interviews. We're going to have Best Fridays in Football. It's really good stuff. So smash that subscribe button. And I say cheers to all you smart asses that say I'm drinking Truly. I am. That's why I'm not fat. So nonetheless, thanks for watching. Be good to each other. And we'll see you this weekend. Night, everybody. Thanks for watching.